On Saturday night, I would see men lusting after half-naked girls dancing at the carnival. And on Sunday morning, when I was playing the organ for tent show evangelists at the other end of the carnival lot, I would see these same men sitting in the pews with their wives and children, asking God to forgive them and purge them of carnal desires. And the next Saturday night, they'd be back at the carnival or some other place of indulgence. I knew then that the Christian church thrives on hypocrisy, and that man's carnal nature will out. This is a quote from the Black Pope Anton Sanzador LaVey. This mindset would push him to go on and create the Church of Satan. And today on the Punk Rock Horror Podcast, we are going to dive deep into LaVey's past and his creation of the church and the influence Satanism has had on horror.
To the Punk Rock Horror Podcast. I'm Matt.
I'm Cody.
And today we're here to remind you to, again, just take care of yourself. But put lotion on your skin after a long day. Make sure you put some sunscreen on before you go out, too.
You can't tell me to use lotion.
Okay.
You can't tell me what to do. It's like a second skin.
Okay, don't use lotion, I guess. Burn. I don't have dry, ashy elbows.
You know what's really funny is I never use lotion, but I get told how soft my hands are all the fucking time.
Yeah, I had one of the weirdest compliments I was kind of given, but I still took it as a compliment because I knew it was a compliment. Was I had someone tell me "Oh Matt, you look great. How do you stay so young? How do you look so young all the time?"
Because I'm 20. I'm in my 20s?
I'm not 30 yet, I guess.
Yeah, I'm
and that might be the reason why, is because I'm not 30 yet. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, and I'm just okay, well, the person who was telling me is actually a genuine person. I've known her for a while, and I just hadn't seen her in the moment, and it's just I was what? I don't know, and then I was just so I'm also myself always trying to have a good hygiene, a good mental health hygiene, things that I can do for myself when I come home from work and it's just been a rough day, and I'm taking care of myself, and it helps me feel good, helps me feel better, or stuff I do to build up my confidence before I go out into the day and whatnot. And so I started using a facial toner. Just I'm experimenting with things that you could do for hygiene, just improve your skin and all that stuff. And I'm look, it's all alien to me, so the best way I can get used to it is just start reading about it and using it and see what it does. So I started using facial toner, and then literally, so that comment happened. Next day I'm at home doing my whole hygiene thing, and I'm just oh, I should use it. I was can't forget to use the facial toner. I'm maybe this is why she said I look young. And I thought, and then I had an additional thought with that, and I'm did I really just think it was because of facial toner? Is that and then I'm maybe that's the point. And I'm I don't know what to do. I'm I feel weird. Weird.
See, my weirdest compliment was when me and a bunch of old friends, we were all playing Dirty Jenga.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. Every time I play it, I always get the tile that says "kiss everyone in the circle."
Yeah.
And so I have to go kiss everybody in the circle.
Right.
And fucking after the first time I did that, every single one of them looked at each other, then looked at me, and they were all just "Cody, you have really soft lips. It's pretty nice." And I was what? How am I supposed? Thank you. I'm glad that my lips aren't a fucking crocodile. They're little clouds. What are you saying? They're it's like kissing a peach. It's really soft. And I was just I don't know how to take this.
At that point, I'd be why are you going to grocery stores and kissing peaches? Yeah. And tell me what grocery stores you go to so I can change where I go to get my peaches from.
Yeah, because I want some of those.
Honestly, I feel that is one of the few things that because I know it's kind of associated with a lot of people in a lot of parts of the country, but I feel that is one thing that isn't associated with Colorado that should be more associated, is that for some reason, just about, unless you're allergic, or just don't like nectarines and that type of stuff. For some reason, everybody here in Colorado loves the shit out of peaches.
Yeah.
That's a weird, I know, anytime Palisade Peaches has their stands like set up, like I
Oh
swear
yeah,
to God,
they're swamped.
I swear to God, it's like how excited me and you get whenever there's a festival
I know.
going on, and like my parents are just like, it was like,
Hopefully soon again.
like I swear, yeah, like my parents are just like all the time, just like they're like Palisade Peaches going
Yeah,
on.
dude, my dad's the same way. The
Yeah.
last time he was up here, he was
Yeah.
like, "Do you want some peaches? We have to go get some Palisade peaches." I was
Yeah,
like, "Yeah, I mean,
right.
Dad, I love peaches, but like, I never thought that was a thing." But yeah, now that I think about it, I'm like, even my mom like loves
Right?
peaches,
It's
and I
fucking
just like,
weird.
I'm like, I love peaches too, but like I don't know what it is.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna like knock down everybody's door and be like, Palisade is open.
I wonder if it's just because, like, you know, green chili is like a big thing in Colorado and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And honestly, peaches.
Yeah, we honestly
and-
did make
and-
green chili
and-
our thing.
Yeah, and fruits like that. So peaches, mangoes go really good. This come from a cook, but like they go for like
Maybe.
like oh, this is like my cook brain thing. I was like, it's because those fruits go really well with green chilies and mixed in salsas and stuff like that.
I always thought
So
it
I'm
was
kind of like,
yeah.
I wonder if it's like that, where it's like people are like making peach salsas
Maybe.
and stuff like that. And
The
using
salsas
it.
I can see, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, and I also wonder if maybe it's just because like there isn't actually any natural peach trees.
That could be it too.
And so it's like an exotic fruit to
Could
us,
be.
maybe.
Yeah, I don't-
Or to
I don't know. It's just like you and me and mangoes, where I was like, oh fuck yeah, mango.
God, mangoes. Oh, I'm gonna get a mango tattooed on my kid's face.
Yeah,
Love
like,
it that
what-
much.
You're my little mango.
Oh God, mangoes.
So
Yeah,
I
that
don't
is.
know.
Yeah,
It could
it's
be
just
something
the
like that.
weirdest like fucking thing, man. Like I don't know what it is. Like if anybody who's listening to the podcast is from Colorado and has had similar experiences, please let us know so we're not
I
crazy.
sure hopes people from Colorado listen to
Right.
us, because I'd be like,
I know.
all right, cool. Our entire
I-
listener base is
look,
is not
Like
from
I will
here.
say, representing majority of our listener base is coming from Colorado.
Yeah, I know.
Like they're number one, and then last I checked, I think it's now back. Texas is taking the 2 spot.
Sweet.
And I forget who's third. I honestly can't think of who, because it was California. I think it might still be California. I'll look it up on the side.
You know what? Not gonna lie. Like, I love all my Texas listeners, but it surprises me just because like how vocal we are about some of the movements that we like, you know, support.
Yeah.
That Texas is number 2 of all states.
Hey man, Texas.
I mean, like, I'm not
Yeah,
bashing them. No,
no.
fuck yeah, I love my Texas
if
listeners.
anything,
love
it's
you
like
guys.
if it's anything, it's
But it's
you,
just it's surprising.
yeah, it's you checking yourself in the moment, man.
Yeah, no, it's just because I'm like, well, shit, right, cool, fuck yeah, like I'm not complaining. It was just one of those things that caught me off guard. I was like, because we're pretty. I honestly like. I don't consider us like myself a liberal, but I definitely have a lot more liberal views, like or what would be considered that. So it just threw me off.
Liberally.
Yeah,
You know.
But, no complaints. I'm just saying, like it
Pun
just,
upon pun.
yeah, it just caught me off guard there.
Yeah,
for a
no,
second.
you're totally fine, man. They get it. I mean, if we ever go down to Texas, they can give us shit.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh,
I
actually, you
fully
know what?
expect it.
You know what? Now I found out.
Ah.
Number 2. Guess what, Texas? Get it together. California. You know what's right under California?
Huh.
Virginia. You know what's right under Virginia?
Virginia?
Yeah. You know what's under Virginia?
Huh.
Texas.
Okay, all right.
Come on,
cool.
Texas. You're 4th.
I'm
you
still
liked us.
top 5.
I thought you liked it. Maybe we just suck. Is that how you want us to feel? Maybe we just suck. You want to know who's in the 5th spot?
Huh.
Shout out New Jersey.
All right,
Shout
she's
out
broke.
Jersey. All right. Next,
Yeah.
next is Michigan,
Nice.
and then Connecticut.
You know, they're probably sitting there like, are they just gonna start reading off fucking?
This is the whole show.
This is the show now.
This is what we're doing. This is.
Oh, that's cool. Oh,
And now I'm gonna give shit to the very bottom five states: Utah, Oklahoma, Montana, Wyoming, Delaware, and South Carolina. We do not have a lot of people in there to listen to it. The few people that
I like
are,
our
few
neighboring
people that are,
states.
shout out to you. We
Yeah.
love you. You are the best. You are amazing, and we will officiate any of your weddings if you're not and or ever planning to get married. Point being is your states in general need to just get up. You need to get it together and listen to us more often. That's what we're saying. That's where we matter. We matter. You know what's one that still just kind of like throws me off though, that is we, so the 2 that we still have listening to us is Canada, which is still slowly growing.
Fuck yeah, Canada.
And Australia is just hanging in there. I don't know. Again, I don't know who in Australia is still listening to us aside, Actually, no.
You know what?
I
I
don't
think
know.
it's the koalas in the tree because they're about to do their koala apocalypse.
They heard our
They heard
the
our
koalas.
episode and they're like, you know
Yeah.
what? We're gonna fucking
That's a
we're
good
gonna do
idea.
it.
That's a good idea.
Yep, we're gonna do it.
They're gonna spare us.
I'm okay with that.
Sorry, my wife.
Sorry, Lord.
Yeah, you're going down. I guess the
Yeah,
claws. No, I'm kidding. I'm not. I say that like I'm gonna just like kick her off the boat. You know, just to save my skin. That sounds so bad.
Sorry, have fun with the koalas.
They're pretty tiny. Just kick them.
Yeah, they're cute like you.
You can snuggle them like I do you. But I won't anymore if you don't survive. So please survive.
And your face is gone.
No, I would totally be out there with like if it,
Oh, yeah, I
if it
know.
was like the legit like movie we created, I'd be out there with a hockey stick going nuts, be like, leave her alone.
We would just see Audrey and Aaron go, oh, so cute.
No,
You don't hate it. Like, see Audrey, she just go, fine, I'm going to my room.
And knowing Aaron, I'd probably express her why she couldn't like mess with the koalas, and would like see Audrey doing it, then become like an instant shit. She'd be like, Audrey, no, we can't.
Don't.
Dad said we can't
Stop
do it.
it.
Dad said we can't. Stop it,
would
Audrey.
just look at her and go, probably roll her eyes at that point because she's getting a
Yeah.
little snippy.
Yeah, I like how we're just putting our entire family into this horror movie
honestly,
about
our
koalas.
family knows what they got themselves into.
Yeah, I got something. I got something to tell you really quick, and then we'll jump into the horror game. Which is so really funny moment. Really quick one. So. Recently, my wife's gone back to work at the school she works at, and so I've been dropping my daughter off to her when I go to work. And
Yeah.
so my daughter got since she's gone back to school, she's
Yeah.
been doing remote learning, but has finally got to see her teacher in person because of this, because of
Yeah.
circumstances. And so she saw her teacher just eating lunch one day, and went up to say hi and introduced her. She's like, "Hi," and she's like, "Oh, is that your dad who just dropped you off?" And Aaron, without missing beats, like, "Yeah," and he's going to work, and he makes horror movies with lots of blood. It just says that to this teacher that's like, I think she's like probably like in her 50s or 60s.
Yeah.
Right. So she's probably like a boomer, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Like, I'm not trying to assume anything. Like, I'm just trying to give an idea of like this teacher having one of her students come up to her and be like, blood.
Yeah, blood everywhere. That's what my dad does. See, in class. It's just like
Basically, that's what
just
Aaron.
happened?
that is basically what Aaron did, and the teacher's like, "Okay, Dan, I'll talk to you later." Like, "Okay, demon child."
yeah, awesome.
Anyway, so let's jump into it. Today it's gonna be part one of a part tutor. Part two.
Part tutor.
Part
Part
tutor.
tutor.
Part tutor.
I know, dude. There's just so much.
So before we jump into,
I would even argue doing a part 3 because there's just so much crap.
we'll see. Let's see how part 2 goes
So much
when we get to that
content.
point. But first and foremost, because we are talking about Satanism today and how
That's
it has
right.
how it came to be and how it has influenced horror.
Especially Mr. Anton LaVey.
And with that in mind, this game is called Losing My Religion. So, but
Sorry.
Hold on.
Sorry, just the name of that. I was like, Jesus, it sounds like,
I did
an
it.
edgelord band that would come out with new metal.
But that's actually an REM song.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I'm just like, to me, I'm just like, oh, okay, I get it. I remember it now. Sorry, okay. It just
Yep.
it didn't click with me. I'm like, fuck, man, that sounds like, a band that would come out in
know.
the 2000s.
Weirdly, REM came out with a lot of songs that are really like morbid, like it's the end of the world.
Yeah, it's the
And I'm
end
fine.
of the world as we
That's
know
what I'm
it.
fine, yeah. So,
Fine, I'm fine. Such a
no one's
good
ever made that joke.
I love
Anyway,
that song.
so the basis of the game is much like Anton. Your whole job, the game. The objective of it is you are making your own religion.
Uh-huh.
So you have to not only create what your religion believes in and worships,
Okay.
but you have to create at least 3 to 5 scriptures that
Oh my God,
that your
that's
flock has
so
to follow.
much right now.
So if you want, I can do mine because I actually have a good example. If you want,
Yeah, because you're probably thinking about on the way to the car, you're like, I'm gonna catch this fucker.
but I think it'll help give you a good example.
Okay.
Okay, so mine is really simple. I wanted to keep it simple, and I wanted to just do something that was going to be easy for me. So I decided to make mine the Church of Ash Williams.
So basically, dudism.
Yeah, dude. Except,
Dudism,
no,
but a little bit more.
it's a root of dudism.
Yeah.
It's a root of dudism.
Okay.
So the church itself will be a trailer. Okay, like an actual trailer park trailer, because that is what the Great One once resided in.
Yeah.
And so we conjure there.
Okay.
And so we worship him with beer and
Nice.
and magazines, Hustler magazines.
Nice.
Playboys are also acceptable. And so we
New or old?
you know what? It doesn't matter, because in our eyes, and in our worship, and in our God's eyes, the God of Ash, he approves all scantily clad beings coming
Fair
to
enough.
him
Yeah,
to worship
that's
him.
true. All right, fair
So
enough.
yes.
Okay.
So one of our scriptures is, first and foremost, you never touch the hair. Never touch the hair. No one touches your hair. You don't touch anyone else's hair. It's your own hair, and it has to be in a pompadour type of style. Like it's just gotta be. It's gotta be that type of style. Also, second scriptures, because there is no S Mart, we only shop at Kmart.
Okay.
That's it. So there's that. We shop there.
But there's where's a Kmart anymore?
We would sometimes our pilgrimages would lead us across so many miles, and some of our followers would be lost to the heat and exhaustion, but they would wait for us in the afterplane of the Necronomicon, which is held by Ash in within the Army of Darkness world.
Okay.
So not much is known about it, and only high priests get to see this world.
Fair enough.
So third scripture is once a year we must all make a pilgrimage to a cabin in the woods and survive a night.
Every year?
Pretty tame. Wait till you get to the last two of these scriptures.
Okay.
To make your way up and be more trusted within the Church of Ash, you must then cut off your left or right hand. we work with it because we realized originally we were just having people cut off their right hands, and realized that there was a lot of people that wrote with their right hand, and so it got really hard to get them to sign contracts at some point.
Fair enough.
So we will switch the hands, but yes, and then they shall be replaced with a hand of its own, a very wooden hand, and this is a probationary hand. After you meet your probationary period, then you get a little metal hand that that has joints, and after you live with that hand for 3 years, then you are eligible to receive your own chainsaw.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Okay.
It's something you earn. Something you earn.
So what if you get kicked out after getting your hand cut off?
So that's because we're a very strict religion. If you are ever kicked out, and that's the fifth scripture, is that you must be you will only leave through execution of boomstick. Our secrets are very valued. We can't just let anyone go, and who knows what they would share with the public. I mean, it's a very, very private religion. It's what we do.
Okay.
So I'm just saying, it doesn't make sense to me. But hey, I got to see Bruce Campbell every now and then comes around and hangs out with us.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
He's not really friendly, but then again, I'm starting to think maybe the reason he's not friendly is because he's continually tied to a chair. So I think that might be an influence somehow. He said something about like chafing and torture, and that it's against human rights, and I wasn't sure what he was talking about. It sounded like a bunch of mumbo jumbo to me. But point being, it's just it's pretty cool. I mean,
it's just groovy, man.
Yeah. I don't know why you're being really, aggro at the moment, but I mean, I don't know what we did to upset you, but
Yeah, it's like we feed you every day.
So I mean, whatever.
Your shit pan gets changed at least once a week.
And we were nice enough to give you a chair and tie you to it, so your posture is not only being fixed, but so you also get to have a relaxing time while you're here. But no, okay, so I mean but hey, you know what? We're getting there. He's getting there. He's starting to appreciate us more. So
That's
he's
good.
getting there. He's getting in there. He's
All
getting
right.
there. So what was yours be?
Okay, well, I've been thinking about it, and I'd probably just, probably have to establish the religion of all almighty Shroudism.
Shroudism?
Shroots.
Oh, shroot.
We will all become a shroot.
You mean like
Under
shroot
here.
farms?
Yes.
We're going to an office joke.
Yep, that's right. Got our mugs and everything. But like, I would have to say our religion is of the shroot and the shroot family fallings. And so, scripture 1 would be, and one of the things that you'd have to do become a shroot, become part of the Shroudism, is you would have to know every type of bear. You need to know all the different types of bears, and that black bears are not best, Jim. It's all it is all opinionated. And then verse 2 would be, while you may be pranked, you never ever take out your aggression. You don't take out your anger on them. You forgive them.
Yep.
And then eventually you will have your vengeance.
Yep.
You just have to pick the time.
I'm liking it.
When you are truthfully challenged by that person who has been doing these things. So if you're getting bullied, you don't fall into what they want. They want you to react to their bullyism. It's like, no, sir. When you are willing to challenge me to a proper fight, then I'll deal with your ass.
I like it.
So
I like it.
that's how it is. Just because like the snowball fight, Shroot never retaliated to the pranks until the snowball fight. So
I agree.
yeah.
I agree.
And then
That's a good point. Good
yeah,
point.
Number 3, you have to have your own self-sustaining garden because the government will fall at some point, and you're gonna need those skills. Then I need to know how to make tomatoes, or potatoes, or beets. Whatever it doesn't have to be beets, even though beets might get you a little bit more up in the hierarchy. But as long as you can make some vegetables. And also, everyone shares because it's going to be a community. So it's like whatever you're growing, you got to share with the other people because they're going to share with you. So it's a community because when the government finally falls, we're taking care of ourselves because we're shroots.
What's the 5th one then?
Well, and I got bears,
You got bears,
bullies,
bullies,
beets.
pranks.
No, that was bullies.
Oh, yeah,
Pranks
but
was
you-
bullies.
you're
So I
right,
only
yeah.
got 3.
Oh, okay. I thought you had 4 for some reason.
No, 3.
My bad,
And then
my bad.
number 4 would be you have to at least watch Battlestar Galactica at least once.
At least
I
once.
will also settle for 3 marathons of Star Wars. All of Star Wars.
Really, how dedicated are you?
Exactly. That includes the prequels. And the new movies for some of you haters.
Because we all know you really want to join the Shroot religion.
That's right. And also, everyone has, and there's that. And then also, you have to woo your significant other because we do not have a bias. We have no shame. No shame in here. We shame nobody for their sexual prowess and whatever. So, but the only thing that we do say is you have to court your mate.
Yep.
That's the last thing. Court your mate.
There you go.
Because you have to prove that not only are you a self-sustaining individual, but they too need to be a self-sustaining individual because we are a group of self-sustaining individuals and that we are not allowed, we're not afraid to talk about ourselves and open up, but you have to court your mate because you need to prove that you're good enough for them and they're proving that they're good enough for you and you would both work together.
I remember the day I courted Lauren under the religion of Ash, and it was a really romantic day. We were just sitting on a picnic on a hill, and the sun was setting, and before it set, I looked into her eyes and I said, Lauren, if you would make me the happiest screwhead in the world, if you would take this hand that was passed down via generations from my great-great-grandfather, would he cut off his hand to start the religion of Ash?
I just threw chicken feet at Deb's feet and she just stomped on it and I was like, courted.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So
And
church
then,
shroot.
and then, so when we got married, the way you get related, you get married, and the part of the ceremony is you take the separate hand from how it's ever been passed down, if you don't have one, you use your own, and then you kiss the back of the hand, and your wife kisses the palm, and then your wife high fives it.
Oh, nice. Oh, also in the
Or newly wedded wife.
We
We got married. Yeah, good job.
That just reminds me of the
Good job.
episode of
Pat on the
American
back.
Dad when Roger and Stan like have the best friend necklaces and their little metal high fives.
Yeah.
And they like do this neck swing to get them to do the high five. I was like, oh yeah. And also in the Church of Shroot, we do not celebrate Christmas. We celebrate Krampusnacht. Because Belschnickel is here. Cheer up here. The right-hand man, if you remember my episode about Krampus, the right-hand man of Krampus.
If you haven't, you should go listen to it.
Yeah, you should go back and listen to it because I fucking love Krampus.
But yeah, so let's call it losing your religion. So what
Building your religion? Since we built our religions?
I mean, we would lose them probably. Let's be honest. Like if we did, we would either lose it because we would get too ahead of ourselves on it, or we would lose it because we would accidentally start a cult.
That's true. Yeah.
Like it would get to that weird moment too, where like there would just be like a room of like women and men, and those who self-identify as either, right? And it would just be like, we are here to give you our bodies, and just like, wow. You know what? I got a lot of projects around the house. Let's start there first. Who knows how to do drywall? Raise your hands.
I can make beats.
All right, let's put you in the backyard. Let's get a beat garden going.
I can grow beets.
Let's get it going.
All right.
What is he doing in the backyard? He's growing beets.
You know,
do we even eat beets? No, but I feel bad for kicking him out.
So you know what's funny though is like when you think about like Ash Williams and Dwight Schrute are also super similar. Just one's more is set in real world, and the other's like the fanatical horror.
Yeah.
So it's like they're both survivalists. They're both ridiculously over-egoed.
Except one has a better relationship with their family than the other.
That's true.
I will
That's
say.
very true. Yeah,
I will say.
I mean, well, the Schrutes are basically Amish without being Amish. Look at Cousin Mose and tell me different.
I think that would be Mennonite.
yeah, they are like. I think they are Mennonites.
It is Mennonite, and you want to know
I'm
the reason?
fairly certain.
So, because we got to get into it. But,
Yeah.
But so you want to know why I know it's Mennonite?
Why?
Is because of that fucking. I don't remember what show it was, but it was when for some reason all of America had a real hard on about Amish living and Amish reality shows.
Amish mobsters or Amish gangsters.
I don't. There was. I don't. Maybe it was them. There was
Yeah.
also one where it's following like a group of like Amish young adults coming to live in modern society. So I don't know. But one of I think it was Amish like mobsters or whatever. That weird ass fucking show.
Yeah.
That I had to watch because I was like, this is so weird. I gotta see how legitimate this is.
I'm
Like
pretty sure it was the Amish gangsters because I remember you talking to me about it one
maybe
time.
it was. Maybe it was called.
And
Amish
you're like,
Gangsters.
I don't know why I'm liking it, man, but I have to watch this. And you wanted me to watch it, and I was just like, no.
It's weird. It's fucking weird. I'm glad I know it anymore. But point being is like they talked about the difference between like Amish and Mennonites. I was like, oh, that makes sense. And then like they tried being serious. Like sometimes we need to get serious when we can. We took off the wheels of Jebediah's carriage. And I'm just like, yeah, take that, Jebediah.
So,
And I'm like, are they really gonna like try to do a scene of like just like four Amish dudes taking another Amish dude out onto the countryside and just like putting one in between his eyes? Like, what the shit is gonna happen? Like,
wow, they just beat him.
I guess they had like a fight club that they would do every now and then. They would do like amateur boxing. So I
You
guess
know what?
there's
Not
that.
gonna lie, if some Amish guy was like, I'm gonna fight you, I'd probably look at him and go, nah, man, I'm not. I know I'll lose. You fight bears.
I don't know. I would kind of want to go through with it just to be able to have the story about it.
Yeah, but I also
It's kind
feel
of one
like
of those things where, like, if I didn't even I wouldn't care if I got my ass kicked. I just want to
But
be able to
here's the
say I got my
thing.
ass kicked by an Amish guy.
I also feel like it's a double-sided sword because you could say like, people might call you a bitch, you got beat up by an Amish guy, but then at the same time, you beat up the Amish guy, everyone's like, what the fuck? He's Amish.
He lives a simple life.
Yeah. They have magic no heat ovens that heat up pizza.
Do you think there are Amish communities that are still like not listening to anything from modern society and are like ignorant to
No, that is a thing.
No, I mean, that's what I'm saying. But like, do you think there are any that are, especially right now with what's going on in the world, and just like we're not going into town for some reason, they're a lot more angrier than normal.
No, they're still there. Like that's a thing. Like Amish communities, like at the beginning of the pandemic, they're like, we're good.
we don't fuck with y'all.
Yeah, they're like, we're good. We stayed inside. You know why? Because Jebediah remembers.
Because Jebediah remembers.
Pepperidge Farm remembers the times. Pepperidge Farm remembers the Spanish flu, and we learned.
Oh man! So jumping into it,
going from one crazy religion to another.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and do horror articles next time, just because we have a lot to get through.
Yeah, we
with
went on
this.
Our game took a little bit.
Oh no, that's cool. It's totally fine. And there's not really a lot of crazy things happening, anyways. I mean, aside from updates on the next Paranormal Activity movie, because there's gonna be another one. Like, if anybody really cares about that, we can touch on that at a later point.
Yeah.
But like, there's not even like release date or anything with that.
I know, man. This pandemic's like kind of put a hold on things outside of video games, because there's that werewolf video game that's gonna be coming out.
I can actually no.
Honestly,
actually, there is a date. So the next Paranormal Activity will come out March 4th, 2022.
Cool.
So
I stopped caring after 2.
I mean, I'd be willing to see what they do with it. But it honestly, this one looks like they're trying to actually put more into it this time around. I mean,
I don't know. I feel
I would rather wait until it gets a little closer.
Yeah. We'll see.
Unless you want me to read it. Do you want me to read it?
I'm sorry, I don't care enough for the Paranormal Activities.
No.
Like, I'm sorry, guys. Like, if you guys really enjoy those movies, that's awesome. It's just after Insidious and for me, Grave Encounters, like they just do those types of movies so much better than the paranormal movies after the second. Like even I lost it even the second one. I wasn't super like into it, and then in my opinion, they got worse.
I'll just share this a little bit. So yeah, March 4, 2022 is where it's coming out. Producer James Bloom revealed that Christopher Landon has returned to the franchise to help develop the next installment, and when quoted on saying, I'm helping my friends and co-collaborators at Paramount set a new course for the franchise. Landon explained, I am not writing the script, nor am I directing the new movie. I am eager and excited to hand the reins over to a fresh filmmaker who will undoubtedly revigorate this franchise that the amazing Oren Peli created so many years ago. And so yeah, it's just going to be something to do with bringing it back to the forefront, trying to bring some new life into it. But I'm kind of, he directed, so Landon is the guy that's behind Happy Death Day, which is probably one of the roughest.
Even more reason why I don't really care anymore.
And honestly,
if you guys like Happy Death Day,
but I'm a little more for it because he was also behind Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse, which I really loved, along with Disturbia. And he's been on that one.
It was alright.
Really, you didn't like Disturbia?
It was alright.
I liked it.
I don't know. There's something a little off about it for me.
I thought it was solid.
I think it was because I was hoping for a little bit more darker, and then it just went.
Well, dude, it was oh my god, what is that? I can't believe it. I had it on top of my head. It's that one movie where it's that dude who has the broken foot.
Yeah, it's the old Alfred Hitchcock movie.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to think of what was, I had the name. Is it The Window? It's not The Window, is it? No. Either way, point being.
Yeah, it's a take on him seeing.
But for a younger adult audience.
I know, but it's just I guess it's because I like the original story so much more, and it's so dark.
I get where you're
coming from. I think it was just the fact that they threw in the Rihanna lyrics, and I was just like, oh god, that just ruined it for me.
But you know what's really rough, man? It's hard reading type of articles like this and still retaining an opinion about Happy Death Day because and here I'll tell you why. So it just really really fast just because because I'm reading this off Bloody Disgusting as reported by Brad Miska. By the way, shout out to Bloody Disgusting and him as well. But I guess like it's stated that Landon is a favorite at Bloody Disgusting, and you know they were really happy with the movies. Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to you.
I know, honestly, I'm pretty certain I'm in the fucking minority of hating that movie.
So
I'm sad.
Well, I'm wondering if depending, at least I will do it. It's fine if you're not, if you want to opt out, but I feel like we should give it another watch just to see if we're willing to change our opinions. I mean, it would be a first for me. It would be a first for me seeing both.
See, the thing is that I'm pretty certain you'll enjoy it because of what it is, and I know I probably would have liked it a little bit more if it wasn't for the fucking marketing, man. That's what really ruined it for me. That whole like Overlord thing that we talked about on our Patreon episode, which you should go back and watch, like about how we were expecting this from all the trailers, and then we got this. And I was just so disappointed the entire time because of that.
Yeah, I'll watch them. I'll tell you what I think, and then we'll go from there. How about that?
We'll see. I mean, I might rewatch them with you because I love the actress. The actress is awesome. I love her. Okay. But it's just like that movie in general. It just pisses me off every moment.
Well, we should. Well, no,
I don't know. That's wild to watch it again.
Yeah, we'll make that the only news then. Cause I mean. So yeah, that's just really it. Like I said, there isn't. Well, there isn't really anything else major. I mean, there is exciting stuff, but it's
nothing.
Outside
of like the games that came out of Gamescom, I didn't see a whole lot of horror stuff either that we haven't already touched on.
Yeah.
And the only one that the two that I'm super stoked for is that new werewolf game that's coming out. It's like Werewolf: The Apocalypse Now or some shit that. And then fucking Little Nightmares 2. Oh, I'm so excited for that game.
Right. But anyways, let's jump into today's content. Why don't you...
So, we talked about some Amish people, and we talked about the Amish, like the craziness of that. So, but today... Okay, so I do have to apologize. I made you guys wait a whole nother recording because I really wanted to put some good effort into my research for this because... We were going to tie this to our Richard Ramirez episode because he was a so-called... he claimed to be a Satanist. And so we want to talk about some Satanism on this show because it's a very, very interesting topic. And so for part one, because we ended up having to make this into a two-parter, we're mostly going to be talking about the creation of Satanism and the life of Anton Szandor LaVey. He's the creator. Considered the creator of modern Satanism, and so Mr. LaVey, he was born as Howard Stanton LaVey, April 11th, 1930, in Chicago, Illinois. His family soon moved to the San Francisco Bay Area, where he spent most of his life. In his autobiography, most of this I got from snippets of podcasts that went over his biography, just to get, because I didn't have time to read his biography and I didn't have time to pay for it, and also from articles online, Britannica.com, a little bit from Wikipedia.
Yeah.
And most of it I actually got from the Satanic Bible because they give a small little bio of him in the beginning of it. And it's a really, really good read just from the beginning. It's a good little bio for him.
Yeah.
So, but in his autobiography, he talked about how he was born with a tail. And it's a condition that he was born with an extra vertebrae that gave him a tail. And it's a condition that happens, they said, around 1 in every 100,000 births. So it's a very, very rare thing. And he said it caused him extreme back pain. And so, he was in pain a lot when he was a kid because of this. It got to the point where he had to learn how to sit on the side of it, on the side, so he wouldn't hurt it and stuff like that. And they said, he would have to get it, claimed he would have to get it drained, I think, every month or something like that. And then it got so bad to the point where I think he was 12 or 13, I can't remember exactly, but I know it was one of those two ages, he finally got it removed. So then he wasn't in pain of that anymore. And so as a kid, he was already into the macabre and the occult pretty early in his life. as a kid that fascinated him. And also, his parents were extremely supportive of his love of music. And they just like kept letting him try out all kinds of instruments to see like what stuck, you know,
Yeah.
like, you know, what good parents do. Like, oh, your kid's my kid is interested in this. I'm gonna keep pushing it until they're done.
Encourage.
You know, I'm gonna encourage them. And so he loved playing. He became like a really, really great keyboardist, pipe organist, and he played the Calliope, I think is what it's called.
Calypso?
No, Calliope. It's Calliope.
Calliope.
Calliope, there we go. Which, if you don't know what a calliope is, it's basically an organ on wheels. Like, it looks like, you know, you'd see it in the circus. It's like, you'd see it around, like, they play it while they're moving.
I gotta look up an image. I'm having
Yeah,
trouble,
but it's literally just an
imagining
organ
it.
with giant wheels. And so when he turned about it is also in his autobiography.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's there's like different versions of it, but like I guess the standard one is that it looks like it's like made out of a wagon and it
Yeah.
has organ pipes built in it and it's all red and whatnot.
Yep, and then
Yeah.
big wheels and it moves.
Yeah. Okay. I
it's-
didn't know that's what that was called.
Yep. And so I'm gonna let you guys know now. Also, researching Anton LaVey, you're gonna get a lot of quote unquote facts that are disputed about his life. His life is a giant dispute of what's true and what's not, especially because since he's a creator of Satanism, there's more than likely some things that were true that people are going to disassociate with just because of the Satanism stigmas.
What? Organizers of religion being argued
No
about?
way!
Things being skewed and disputed? Never heard that happening
People
with any
cover-
organized religion,
I know.
ever.
People covering things up? No way!
Never heard of it.
All in the name of a religion?
Things being
Shut the
changed
front
as
door.
time goes on to kind of like put it under the rug. Never heard of that. Never heard of that.
And so...
That
Yeah.
sure is odd.
No way. And so, because I just want to point that out because the start of his whole entire like disputes actually comes at the fact that he claims in his autobiography that he quit high school his freshman year at the age of 16 and joined the circus and several carnivals around town, and that he claimed he started off by taking care of all the big cats. So
Yeah.
the tigers, the panthers, and the leopards. And then he actually ended up moving up to performing and playing and doing the music for the carnival, playing the Calliope. Calliope. I'm never going to say that word right. You know what? There's my figgy.
That's a thing that happened once.
And so the reason why I say that is because journalist Lawrence Wright investigated LaVey's background and claimed that there is actually no evidence of LaVey ever working in carnivals or quitting high school. So it's like,
nerd, you
only
lied about quitting
high school. So it's like-
dude, bro.
yeah, and so there's this thing about LaVey is that he has an ego and he had to build himself up like this much
Wait,
in this
you-
persona. I know the creator of a religion and an ego.
He had an ego? No way. You're telling
Stop it.
You're telling me this literal edgelord who made the most edgelord freaking religion ever has an ego? Pfft, wouldn't have guessed.
Shut up.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
And so, in the winter of 1948, LaVey started playing the organ at nightclubs, bars, and burlesque shows. And so that's where he started kind of becoming like a mini like pop sensation. Like everyone's like, oh, he's super good on the organ or
Yeah.
super good on the keyboard. You need to get LaVey. And so during this time, also from his autobiography, he claimed that he had a brief affair with a then unknown Marilyn Monroe. He claimed that it was when she was a burlesque dancer at the Mayan Theater, that they had this nice little thing, they were flirty, and that she just got him and he got her at the time because she was an entirely different person than who she ended up becoming, because at this time she was a little more downtrodden on her luck, and he even admitted that he was her low point. Like,
Wow.
he was even saying like I was her low point and stuff. And he said that even though it didn't last very long, like they loved each other in the like throughout the entire thing.
Are we sure?
But once again, this is disputed because people, it's because interviewers and biographers that were doing like things on LaVey had to talk, who wanted to follow up on this, talk to some of like that Marilyn Monroe's then close friends, and they were like, yeah, she never knew that guy. And also the manager of the Mayan Theater says, one, Marilyn Monroe was never a dancer that was employed here, and two, we never had burlesque shows in the Mayan Theater. So it's like, all right, Anton, like, come on, like, is this true? Is it not? It's also one of those things that's, again, Marilyn Monroe is like an American sweetheart, like considered an American sweetheart, the good, that whole thing. So it's like, of course, like if that was true, no one's gonna want to admit it for Marilyn, quote unquote Marilyn's sake. But like, so it's one of those things where it could be true, it might not. Don't know.
Probably not.
Probably not. But also during this time, this is when like the foundation and the basis and the seed was planted for him creating the Church of Satan. Because while he was doing all this, he claims that he would see men at the burlesque shows and strip clubs on Saturday night, and then the very next Sunday morning, that very next day, they would be at church, but absolve their sins by repenting their sins and everything.
Yeah.
But then they would be right back at those burlesque shows and strip clubs the very next week, repeating all this stuff, getting super shitty and, dancing with all these naked women, sometimes hooking up with them and stuff like that, cheating on their wives. And he's like, this like really pushed his cynical view towards religion, especially organized religion, because, and is honestly like a biggest part of especially Christianity, where it's saying you can as long as you say as long as you repent whatever you did, that you'll still be okay in God's eyes as long as you believe in him. And LaVey was like, this is ridiculous.
That's bullcocky.
And so he really like thought of like the biggest thing was that it was religion, especially Christianity, wants humans to suppress their vital urges and everything, and that's why there's just so much like evil that comes out of these people, is because they're suppressing like all these not these terrible urges, but they're just basic human urges. And he just doesn't think that's okay. So
basically, if you want to fight the devil, you got to rub one out.
Yeah, basically, and it's okay.
You're doing God's work, son.
And so he was also, and then also like LaVey was also kind of a creepy dude. I mean,
oh no way!
No way! The guy who created the most edgelord thing, he was a super creepy guy.
This guy, so up to this point, he didn't sound creepy at all.
I know. So this is also, claims in not claims, but in 1950, he moved back to San Francisco and met his first wife, Carol Lansing, and they married right after she turned 15.
Lansing.
So they met when she was 14, and they married when she was 15, and he was 20. So it's a little but in 1952 they had their first daughter, Carla. Anton had his very first daughter with Carol, Carla LaVey. And so this is all another thing. In order to avoid the Korean War draft, he studied criminology at the City College of San Francisco, which led him to becoming a photographer for the San Francisco Police Department. He then claims that after all this, he went on to become a psychic investigator and helped with over 800 cases that were given to him from the SFPD. This is also disputed because there are no records of LaVey ever working for the San Francisco Police Department. Ever. And I believe they even said there wasn't a record of him at the going to City College, but I think that's true because he did get out of the Korean War. They didn't, where I read this, they didn't go into that. Yeah. But the funny thing is that LaVey actually said the reason, he's like, no, they're just expunging my records of ever working there because of who I am. They don't want to be associated with Satanism. So it's like one of those things again where it's like, especially in this day and age of how much, we're seeing the political corruption and police corruption and stuff like that, I wouldn't doubt that they actually did expunge his record from the police department. like him being associated with them. Again, take it however you will.
Right.
Like, did he do it? Maybe. Didn't he? More than likely, he wasn't actually working with the police department. So, but because of all that, he also was really close friends with a lot of writers and authors from Weird Tales magazine, such as George Haas. If you don't remember George Haas,
Okay.
I believe I mentioned George Haas in the H.P. Lovecraft episode.
Okay, now I'm a little jealous because I like Weird Tales.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, continue.
Anyways, George Haas, Robert Barber Johnson, and Clark Ashton Smith, they all appear in a photography, Blanche Barton's biography, The Secret Life of a Satanist. There's a picture of him and all of them, and they all got together and were buddies. Anton and Carol finally divorced in 1960 after LaVey became entranced by Diane Higgerty. Higgerty and LaVey never married, but they did have a child together, and they were together for 24 years. They had their daughter Zena Galetta Shrek Nee LaVey.
Wait, you heard Shrek?
Yeah.
The kid's named Shrek?
Yes. They had their daughter in 1963. But at the end of their relationship, Higgerty sued LaVey for alimony. And obviously he ended up having to pay for it. But he started becoming a local celebrity, though, because he did host paranormal investigations and his organ playing around town at bars. Like, everyone is like, he's a great keyboardist. Like, go to this bar when he's playing, you're gonna be knocked off your socks. He was so good. And also he drove around in a coroner's van. That was his mode of transportation.
Okay.
He painted his entire house black.
Honestly, everything you're doing is not helping with my perception of him being like the king of edgelords at the moment.
Oh no. And he walked around with a pet black leopard named Zoltan.
Okay, that cements it. That dude is edgelord I don't give a shit what anyone says. That's fucking edgelord to the max. Like, holy shit, rev up the bullet for my Valentine use. Fucking Limp Bizkit albums, that is edgelord. So let's get some. And he dressed in all black and all that jazz, so that doesn't help.
Nope.
And then, what's funny is I don't have to even add that into the joke in order for it to be a thing.
No,
it's just
because that
wow.
happened. That was real.
Like, I'm not trying to shit on the dude, but just, I mean, if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's probably an edgelord.
Yeah. And so through all of this, and also becoming this person and having his ego boosted, of course, while becoming a mini celebrity, it all ended up led up to April 30th, 1966, when he founded the Church of Satan. Also, that day is very, very significant because I'm sorry, I forgot the holiday. It's a specific holiday, and it's a specific Christianic holiday that they do.
Right.
I just apologize. I lost my spot for that.
No, you're okay.
I'll pause it. All right. So the significance of the day, April 30th, is because it's also the day of Walpurgis Night. And that is it's a oh my god, I'm flipping over my words. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. Not like we don't ever do that.
Yeah, I know. And so it's a holiday that's celebrated. It's eighth. Oh my god. It is celebrated on the 9th of April 30th and the day of May 1st. It's a feast that commemorates the canonization of Saint Walpurga and the movement of her relics to Eichstatt, both of which occurred on May 1st, 870. So yeah, it's just a big holiday, a significant holiday to the Christian religion.
Okay.
And that's why he did it on that day specifically. So
just to be clear here.
yes. And so yeah, he created the Church of Satan, and this is where things start going up for him. He became even more infamous. LaVey proclaimed himself the high priest, and he would go on to U.S. talk shows, radio shows. He would do interviews, and he would every Friday night he would host his masses, and would get the more people that showed up and the more popular he became. or the more infamous, I should say, not popular necessary. The more theatrical these got, like he would have naked women dancing. He'd do the quote unquote blood sacrifices, but he never actually sacrificed any real animals.
What would really upset my parents? what would make them so bad? Let's make that happen tonight.
Basically, and of course he did all of his preachings and everything. And so like the great thing about his theatrics is, so if you haven't seen a picture of Anton LaVey, he has the devil goatee, like if you the perfect devil little goatee, and he has a completely shaved head. And so he claims that he shaves his head as a tribute to the ancient executioners. But most people actually claim that he lost a bet, and so he just went along with shaving his head and just made it theatrical for it, and just made it significant and made it look more menacing, of course. So I think he just kept going with it. So it's again, who knows? But because of all this the publicity that LaVey was getting, and the church, like, oddly enough, never really taught more than 2,000 people, but there were some pretty well-known celebrities that associated with the church. That included Jane Mansfield and fucking Sammy Davis Jr. I always forget that he was a Satanist.
Because he doesn't really...
He's this happy-go-lucky guy, fucking hanging out with Frank Sinatra, and he's a Satanist.
That's the only reason why he's like, wow, that Anthony dude's a real drag at parties. I'm gonna go join his religion in hopes to make him a little more fun.
Yeah, it's just like, Frank, don't ask me what I do on my Friday nights anymore.
He's like, I don't even care what he believes in. This guy has to stop being a wet blanket at some point.
At some time. And so, and then he finally published his magnum opus, his greatest creation, the Satanic Bible, which was published in 1969.
Yeah.
And that's where like he compounded all of his teachings, and he published a companion piece, the Satanic Bible of Rituals and Witchcrafts. Like basically, like it's once you read the Satanic Bible, you read this, and then like they coincide together. And so, even though like there also is a lot of like occult to his Satanism, he did a lot. The LaVeyanist Satanists.
Yeah.
They also have a lot of like science put into their religion.
Right.
Like basically, like LaVeyan Satanism is all about kind of common sense, and so. I'll read the scriptures on our next episode when we're talking about all the individual types of Satanist groups,
right.
Because there's too much in this episode since we're going over him.
Yeah, and we still got to try to like talk about like how to even somewhat start to influence horror.
Oh yeah, because there's a lot of influence on the whole. Okay, and so while the religion, and so that we also have to make this thing sense. We're bringing up, like what they really teach, and so. While the religion is called Satanism, it must be noted that especially LaVeyanist Satanism, and even most of the other branches, including the most recent, the Temple of Satan, right? Yeah, Temple of Satan branch, they don't believe in Satan.
Oh.
So, like, Satanism isn't even about, like, they don't believe in Satan. Most actual occupants of Satanism are actual atheists.
I don't know why. I don't know why I'm saying it. I was being a dork for your benefit, because.
I was like, you knew that.
Yeah. I was trying to do it to like,
No
support.
way.
I was trying to do it for you, man. But no, the only reason I know about it is because of that documentary. Oh my
Hail
God,
Satan.
Hail Satan ?
Mm-hmm.
Or the way I like to say it, Hail Satan.
Hail Satan? Yeah, because it is a question mark. And so like. Pretty much to compound like what LaVey created with his Satanism and everything is a quote from Per Faxneld and Jesper Peterson. This is the quote about it. It said, "Never one for theory, LaVey created a belief system somewhere between religion, philosophy, psychology, and carnival or circus because of all the theatrics and everything. Freely appropriating science, mythology, fringe beliefs, and play in a potent mix. The core goal was always indulgence and vital existence based on the devices and desires of the self-made man." Because there's actually also, like, when you look at the art of LaVeyanism, Satanism, there's a lot of H.P. Lovecraft influence and stuff like that too. He took a lot from a lot. There's a lot into it.
Yeah.
And so.
There's no way there isn't.
And so, same with the popularity of Satanism actually growing, and then I know we try not to take jabs at like religions and stuff, but because of one of the first that I know of public outings of the Catholic Church and their priests diddling kids and being moved and hidden and swept under the carpet. And this time period, this is when the Satanic Panic happened, and it was all because the Catholic Church got busted and then needed a scapegoat and said, oh, well, they killed kids. And so, like, they blamed Satanists for a lot of this shit. And because of that, while the Satanic Panic was in full swing in 1980, LaVey was actually interviewed by the FBI about death threats towards Ted Kennedy. Because, like, all these Satanists were like, we're going to kill him in the name of Satan, shit like that.
Right.
And LaVey was literally like, look, man, like every organized religion, you're gonna have extremists, and my religion's called Satanism, so my group's entirely full of weirdos, fanatics, and extremists. Like, you're gonna get it from here, but they're not a part of me. And so, because of that, and because of all that outcry, he decided that to be a true Satanist in LaVey in his version of Satanism, that you're gonna have to start paying fees. To go to his churches and stuff, and he even admitted he solely did this because of these extremists and stuff, and he didn't want his version of Satanism to be tainted by these extremists.
Yeah.
And so then that's when the Temple of Set, which is the very first off branch of Satanism, was developed. And so after that, I mean, that was kind of like the big thing for Anton LaVey and his life of being a Satanist and everything. He ended up having, sorry, oh my god. Okay, cool. So he ended up finding his third and final companion in Blanche Barton, and then on November 1st, 1993, Barton gave birth to, guess what their kid's name is? First name.
I feel like it's going to sound like something you would name a vampire.
Satan Xerxes Kornacki LaVey.
Called it. Called it. That's fucking so, like vampire. Do it. Fucking do it.
And so Barton ended up succeeding LaVey as the head of the church after LaVey finally ended up passing on October 9th, 1997 from a pulmonary edema. And then Barton took over, and then after Barton then stepped down and handed over the role over to Magus Peter H. Gilmore. So yeah, that is the story of Anton LaVey and the creation of the Church of Satan.
Oh, man.
And obviously there's a lot of influence that Satanism has in movies. Like, especially occult movies, because of the Satanic Panic and saying, oh my god, Satanists are these evil ritual, they sacrifice people and sacrifice animals. Like, you can see that just in Hollywood, and like the Hollywood versions of Satanism in general. Like, the Hollywoodized version of Satanism doesn't talk about, like, the science, like, believing in science and mythology and stuff like that. All they do is the crazy ass, oh, Satanists are evil, they're going to sacrifice your babies in the name of Satan and stuff, So, I feel like with all of that and just the fact that Satanism is super easy to use, I think that's why, like, it has this big influence in horror. I mean, what's more scary than having to spend all eternity in hellfire and brimstone, like burning and suffering for all the bad you did in your life? What's scarier than that? And so, like, especially seeing that on the big screen, because then you have, like, the intense, terrifying movies and, like, portrayals of Satan, like in the movie Legend with Tom Cruise, where Tim Curry's playing Satan. Like, that's a freaky ass fucking thing,
Yeah, and you can also see just a little bit with, like, how extremists did to Satanism what he was worried about, how that was used as an influence in a lot of, like, horror movies that did kind of explore and expand on that with the extreme cultists of Satanism.
Oh yeah.
And people sacrificing, blood orgies, all that shit. I mean, hell, even South Park made a joke about it.
Yeah, with the Christmas animals.
I mean, granted it was, yeah. I mean, granted it wasn't directed at that, but like just the theme of that was still even involved with them being satanic, and like, I think it's just very, it's somewhat funny to me that, you know, Satanism wasn't supposed to be like how it's viewed, and it mainly became that way because of, you know, the satanic panic, really. I mean, and
well, yeah, because of the Catholic Church.
exactly, you know, because
Like-
they're just like, look, I mean, we're like, look, this kid thing is really bad is bad PR for us. What could we do to kind of curb this? Satanism is the thing, right? Right. Yes. Everybody hates the devil. Yep. Let's just say that well, I don't know. What's worse than touching a kid? I guess killing one.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. Let's get it.
They're sacrificing your children. And you know, because of that, like, it painted Satanism in this terrible light. And then you also have all, like I said, all the Hollywoodized versions.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, where it's, you know, they have, like, for instance, one movie we did on here that has a lot of, like, Satanist ties on there, Night Shift.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, they made it this, if you like, you know, praise the devil and stuff like that, you'll become this eternal demon. And, like, you can live throughout that and cause all this terror. So, like, and then even, Little Evil that we did on here.
Oh my god, I love Little
You know,
Evil.
like, the great thing about, like, I think especially modernized Satanism and stuff like that is
Yeah.
now we can poke fun at it.
Also,
great.
yeah, and so to wrap up today, we moved all of our LPC just to the end, just because of how much there is go through and whatnot. So normally we would read it before we jump into our subject, but just to make the time, we're gonna go ahead and read it, and also because we really only got a few from our Twitter that we're gonna read from on this one, and a little from our Instagram as well. So there isn't too much, but so basically we just asked all of you amazing ghouls, gals, creeps, and mutants that this weekend we were talking about Satanism and horror movies, and are going to talk about the history of how it came to be and how it has influenced the horror genre over time. So we want to know, what is your favorite horror movie that has Satanism as a theme, and why? So just jumping into it. So from our good friend Paul Lubicheski over at Paul Lubicheski, man, that's going to be a long show from Malaise to Haxan to the seventh victim, and you're still in black and white. And shout out to Paul Lubicheski. He's been on here a few times as a friend of the show, and he's an author. Make sure you check him out and follow him as well. Shout out next to our next horror creators as well, from Unsung Horrors at Unsung Horrors. The Devil's Reign and Satan's Children, both 1975. Classic, I enjoy that. From Ravi Jain at Ravi, or is it Jain? I think it's Ravi Jain at Ravi Jain 14370465. Also, The Devil's Diary. I like it. I've never actually heard of The Devil's Diary, but now I'm interested. Just because the title alone, to be quite honest. From Eben at Book of Eben. Blood on Satan's Claw, 1971. It's incredibly atmospheric and creepy, has an amazing score, and stars the mesmerizing Linda Hayden. Great folk horror. And then from Robbie also did follow up with an additional one saying The Omen, The Exorcist, and The Nun. And you know what? Bravo. The Exorcist it is probably one of the most iconic for it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, one of. I mean, next to, like, the Omen. Mm-hmm. But you know what? Respect. He shout out The Nun. Although I have expressed my views on it. Respect. So.
Phallic.
But so go for it. It's from Daniel R. Bundick at Supertrain1. This isn't a favorite, but it's odd, which means that you probably know what we're into. So he recommended Child of the Sabbat, in a restored version of it. He actually linked to us, so I'm going to check that out for sure. The Fabulous Gamer at Horror Goddess, or Horror Gods. Sorry, is it Goddess? Or no, it's Horror God. Yeah, it's Horror. Because it's Godess. So would it be gods or God is?
Godess?
Yeah, because goddess is spelled
that's
with two
goddess.
D's. No, goddess is spelled with two D's.
I know, but that's supposed to be saying goddess.
Is it? Okay,
Yeah.
either way, sorry.
It's goddess.
That took up their
Gods is, there's no E.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. So
Yeah,
it is God.
it's goddess.
Okay, you're right. That threw me off pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. So again, from the fabulous game. Oh, yep, got it now. I get it. I finally processed the entire name all the way through, and I get it is Goddess because it's the fabulous gamer.
Jeez.
I got it now. Sorry. It is at Horror Goddess from the fabulous gamer. So okay, that threw me off because I didn't see the Y in gamer first.
Yeah.
And so I was like the fabulous gamer. So wait, was it a god or god? And then I looked back and I was like, oh, there's a Y. So it's G-A-Y and E-R. My bad. So. They're all so he said they're all taken from Christians' perspective of Satanism and not from actual Satanists. So adding into kind of like the stigma about it, because he did actually or she, I shouldn't assume. They did point out that they're all taken, from that Christian perspective of Satanism and aren't actual Satanists. Yeah. So we're gonna have to talk a little bit more about that too on our next part 2 episode.
Yeah, I've been told many times that the best actual on-screen version of what a true Satanist is is Guilfoyle from oh my God, Silicon Valley.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's the perfect he's literally what a Satanist is supposed to be or should be portrayed as on screen, and it's fucking great. He's my favorite character.
So, from Sarah Jane's husband at artist_formerly, technically every supernatural horror film has Satanism/religion as a basis. Any vampire in the classical sense film implicitly, oh my God, I'm just screwing up, embraces the truth of Christianity and the satanic nature of the vampire. That's why vampires are afraid of crosses. Mm-hmm. And then finishing off on our last two from Alex Vorkov at Alex Vorkov. I enjoy some of the relatively more obscure titles like Norma Jane Warren's Satan's Slaves and Paul Naschy's Inquisition. And I'm going to give a shout out to Stately Wayne Manor over at SW Manor because he or she or they replied and followed up to Alex Vorkov's tweet saying, "Nobody expects the Naschy Inquisition." So I love that. I was like, all right, okay, you got me. You got me. You got a chuckle out of me. Good job. Alrighty then. Cool Scouts, Cruise Bands. Yeah, sorry to say that to last. Again, had to get through a lot of that content. Had to get through a lot of that research.
Yeah, we had a lot. I had a lot of research, man.
Yeah. So again, make sure you follow us, check us out wherever you do. Shout out again to our network, Slash and Cast Podcast Network.
Yeah, because we're in a network.
Check out all the shows they have in there, everything from oh my God, just I'm now just being totally overwhelmed of all these amazing shows that we get to actually be associated with. We Watched the Movie is on there. Bloody Date Night is another fantastic one that I've been getting more into. The Silver Screen, what is it? It's oh my God, I wrote it down in my notes, and it's the first episode where we have to actually shout them out. Well, I'm just kidding. We don't have to. I am actually choosing to because I enjoy them. But they're the Silver Screen Scream Show. Excuse me. That's why.
Okay.
Yeah, they actually had this really cool March Madness horror themed.
Yeah.
Game that they were going on that I was listening to, and it was what horror monsters would win in a fight. And the two that I thought of for the longest time, and we're gonna have to go into more next episode, but the one that they brought up was between I think it's Annie Wilkes and Jack from The Shining. So Annie was from Misery and Jack's from The Shining. So and I thought that would be a good one. But yeah, other than that, just make sure you check out slashandcast.net. They're fantastic. They're a great network. I mean, take it as biased as you want from us. Point being is that if you want more horror, make sure you check them out. And if you want to support us, make sure you like us and follow us on Facebook. You know how to look us up there, Punk Rock Horror Podcast, or on our Twitter, @officialPRHP, or
on Instagram, Punk Rock Horror Podcast, #PRHP Podcast.
And you can follow me at The Undead Matt on Instagram as well. We always have merch available, and also now being part of the slashandcast.net network, we have our merch available there too. So now you have not only just our website that you can go to, and not only can you go straight to Teespring, but you can also go through them as well.
Woot woot.
So again, ghouls, gals, creeps, and mutants. If you would like to also support us on our Patreon, that is also an option as well. We recently came out with 2 episodes, one talking about and reviewing, making the case for the show Hannibal, and our newest episode which is now out, is us talking about horror movies that we have seen that we were really let down by.
Yeah.
It's not gonna give it away, but it's definitely one that we really got into, and there was some tears shed and some holes in the wall made, and
She didn't die in the right way.
exactly. As horror fans, that's something that can really bother us.
It really
They have to die the right way.
That's like, a really morbid thought. We're like, fuck, why didn't she die like that? And you're like, man, I'm talking about how someone didn't die right.
It's fictional. It's fiction. Just if we're ever in a court, it's fictional, just for the record.
Yeah. They're fake deaths.
They're not real.
They're not real people.
They're not real. Don't give me that. This isn't the punk rock bestgore.com podcast.
Yeah, Jason Voorhees isn't a real person.
Yeah, we're not. So I'm just saying. God.
Jeez.
Yeah, do you know there's actually we I don't remember the name, but we had somebody follow us on Instagram who I followed back just because I thought they were another horror creator, and that was a mistake. Because they had a post that said oh, this post is considered offensive for everyone. I was like, oh, cool, so it must be a special effects, or because we get a lot of also pages that'll follow us that will just post pictures on their Instagram of scenes from horror movies, gory scenes and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, so I thought it was gonna be another one of those, and I looked at the video, and it was actually a video from bestgore.com. I was like, oh no, that's a real heart being torn apart.
That's not right.
You can still follow us, but I think
shouldn't unfollow that.
Maybe for
we should unfollow that.
We're just gonna unfollow. So
that's a no for me there, Big Bob.
That's a no.
That's a no. No real hearts over here.
Yep, gonna go ahead and pass on that one. We're making this out here way too long. Ghouls, Gals, Creeps, and Mutants, thank you again for supporting us, for supporting the show. We wouldn't be where we are, and our future wouldn't be what it is, and everything about this show wouldn't be what it is if it wasn't for all of you amazing Ghouls, Gals, Creeps, and Mutants continually supporting us and doing everything you can to get our name out there and help out in that way. Honestly, seriously, even though we never expect that, the fact that you do does mean a lot to us. And again, just thank you, Ghouls, Guys, Creeps, Mutants, and we will talk about horror with you next time.
Bye.
Bye.